Nothing makes me happier in life than my two favorite things, Pokemon and food. That's why I came up with an idea of amalgamating them into this video, which hopefully appeals to fellow Pokemon and gourmet enthusiasts. In this video I'll be ranking food-based Pokemon based on their competitive merits and viability throughout their existence, using results from the 6v6 Smogon singles format and the official VGC doubles format endorsed by the Pokemon Company. For clarification, only fully evolved Pokemon that are explicitly based on food, design or concept-wise are eligible for this ranking. But before we begin, please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoy, since these videos take a lot of time and effort to make and it helps me out a lot. Let's start with a Pokemon that isn't as renowned as the rest on this list. At last place is the Pokemon Cherrim, based on the cherry fruit. I wouldn't blame you if you've never heard of this Pokemon, since it's almost unheard of even to quirky members of the fanbase who claim to cherish unloved Pokemon, but go quiet when you ask them how their choice-banded Bruxish team is performing in OU. Cherrim's obscurity is not totally undeserved. It has the signature ability Flower Gift, changing its form in the sun and enhancing its physical attack and special defense by 1.5 times upon conversion. But if Cherrim's entire gimmick was to be a hearts-hitting sun-boosted physical attacker, why does its physical attack sit at an egregious base 60? That's even lower than its base special attack of 87. Cherrim is simply far too weak and slow to be a sun sweeper, incapable of pulling off the single purpose Game Freak instigated onto it. Perhaps a rework to its signature ability Flower Gift could consist of raising Cherrim's special attack and speed, since it could capitalize off those boosts to become a terrifying sun sweeper with powerful moves like Growth, Solar Beam and Weather Ball. Alternatively, Game Freak could just give the poor thing the devastating combination of Chlorophyll and Sleep Powder. Basically the Exeggutor, Tangela treatment, whatever you want to call it. Perhaps someday a YouTuber would feel slightly more inclined to put it on a thumbnail for their video. Sirfetch'd and its pre-evolution Farfetch'd are based on the Japanese proverb Kamonegi, which means a duck comes bearing onions, usually used to describe something sudden yet convenient. A funny concept that I think was executed perfectly in both Farfetch'd and Sirfetch'd designs. However, seeing Sirfetch'd usage, oh my goodness, I cannot pronounce the sibilant S. Seeing Sirfetch'd usage across the 6 years of its existence has left me distraught. Not a single sensible player has ever contemplated using the Leek Bird, but is the discrimination really justified? It's obvious that Sirfetch'd was born to be an all-out attacker. From its colossal base 135 attack stat, its excellent ability Scrappy that allows it to hit ghost types with its fighting type stat, to the plethora of incredible offensive moves it receives like Swords Dance, Dual Wing Bee, Close Combat, Knockoff, Grassy Glide, First Impression. Why does it get First Impression? Not to mention how it's gifted its own signature move, Meteor Assault, but it requires a turn of recharge, so boo, irrelevant. Either way, Sirfetch'd's biggest flaw that could not be overlooked was its abysmal base 65 speed, forcing it to run a Choice Scarf at all times just to output quick, consistent damage without fear of being instantly decimated because of its mediocre bulk. As I mentioned in my video documenting Gen 3's filler Pokemon, Pokemon with awkward speed stats almost never thrive in a competitive scene. From being too slow for a fast-paced metagame, or being too fast for trick room teams, an awkward speed stat is doing you no favors, and you'd much rather have the stat points concentrated in certain areas the Pokemon excels in. Despite this, I think Sirfetch'd has incredible potential as a Choice Scarf attacker, despite not being very fast even with the Choice Scarf. Comment down below if you'd like to see me build a team around Sirfetch'd in the future. Next up is Alcremie, a mono fairy type Pokemon modeled after flavoured whipped cream. Alcremie is a fairly successful Pokemon in lower tiers as a double dancer and check to common fighting and dark types. With its abilities Sweet Veil and Aroma Veil are nothing special, the former nullifying effects of sleep, inducing moves, and the latter serving as an unlimited use mental herb. While Alcremie really shines, however, is in the doubles format. Its signature move Decorate raises the target's attack and special attack by 2 stages each, helping offensive allied Pokemon like Calyrex Shadow Rider output more damage. Its ability Sweet Veil can also come in handy in denying spores from pesky Amoonguses that are omnipresent in the VGC scene, and though Alcremie has never seen much competitive success in doubles as a whole, due to its pathetic speed and physical bulk, it can still function as a support Pokemon to assist formidable all-out attackers. The next Pokemon was introduced quite recently in Generation 9. Appletun is one of the 3 evolutions of Applin, based on everyone's favourite apple pie. I personally have a bit of bias towards this thing despite its unviability in competitive Pokemon because of how well it worked for me in the 1v1 format. I know I said I wouldn't take unofficial metagames into account and I stand by that, but hear me out for a second. Amnesia, Iron Defense, Body Press and Apple Acid, complemented by Appletun's signature ability Ripen, works seamlessly in 1v1, where your opponent can't force you out and deny your defense boost. Double Dance guarantees you wall almost everything that doesn't instantly kill you, and the lethal combination of Ripen and Citrus Berry replenishes half of your health without wasting a turn. Body Press allows you to hit Hisuian Goodra, a very common Pokemon in the format that has an immunity to Appletun's grass type moves due to Sap Sipper. while Apple Acid drops the opponent's special defense by 1 stage every time, guaranteeing a slow but certain breakthrough. Aside from this, Appletun is pretty awful, and its stats paint a picture as to why. It has the bulk, which its ability Tick Fact ensures, but its lack of utility aside from Leech Seed and probably dual screens reduces it to setup fodder for sweepers. As much as I love Appletun, its distant cousin Hydrapple is far better in every aspect, and Appletun is simply too much of a burden to fit onto a team. Design-wise, Vanillux's concept is crystal clear. How could you not love 2 ice cream cones? They're even smiling at us in the face of a Choice Specs boosted overheat from Typhlosion. Vanillux has never been an outstanding Pokemon since its introduction, mainly because it's hard to give the ice cream cones a proper purpose. Its only decent stat is its base 110 special attack, which is nothing noteworthy. But at least it can hit quite hard when paired with the Choice Scarf to raise its speed. As hard as 2 ice cream cones could possibly hit for at least. Thankfully, Game Freak rectified this by bestowing upon Vanillux the wonderful ability Snow Warning, setting up the snow or hail upon entry. This was revolutionary for the 4 Vanillux fans out there, as well as the competitive scene, as weather setters are often difficult to come by, especially when the weather setter had access to the screen move Aurora Veil, a combination of reflect and light screen, that could only be set up when the snow is active. Despite not being as fast or useful as Alolan Ninetales, Snow Warning would allow Vanillux to output substantial damage with the Choice Specs boosted blizzards that were now 100% accurate, and Freeze Drive, which could hit water types for super effective damage. Vanillux may not be the greatest weather setter out there, but it's not to be underestimated either. As they say, the light that shines the brightest also burns out the fastest. Such was true for the Pokemon Exeggutor, although it was able to hold its reputation for quite a while. The Coconut Tree has had its fair shares of up and downs throughout its extensive 26-year career, so let's get into it. Exeggutor peaked in Generation 1 before the special attack and defense split, thanks to the near non-existence of bug-type moves that were otherwise obliterated. Exeggutor held its title as the uncontested best sleeper in Gen 1 OU, spamming moves like Sleep Powder, Psychic and Explosion to wreak havoc in its path. Even the special attack and defense split in Generation 2 left Exeggutor undeterred as it persisted with its sleep spam shenanigans, which was enhanced by its ability Chlorophyll, that doubled its speed in the sun to make it unsuspectingly fast. It had excellent synergy with Groudon, which could set the sun with Drought to enable Exeggutor's antics, or simply check Kyogre, Groudon's biggest weakness, threatening it with super effective Grass-type moves. Over time, the Grass Psychic typing grew less desirable due to the prevalence of Ghost, Dark, and Bug-type moves, depriving the Coconut Tree of opportunities to shine in upper tiers. Its Alolan counterpart was equally pitiful despite its significantly better Grass Dragon typing, mainly because of its poor speed and lack of access to Chlorophyll, which forced it to run Frisk most of the time. Exeggutor was outshined by far superior special attackers with better typings, and you could reasonably attribute its downfall to the nerfs to Psychic types, poor defensive and offensive type combination, and power creep in general. I would argue that my love for Slurpuff is unmatched. I've made 2 videos around it already and I don't intend on stopping there. While I sing the praises of Belly Drum Slurpuff, I will be judicious when professing its weaknesses. Alas, what is love if not the embracing of flaws? Slurpuff has 2 primary uses, as a sticky web lead, or my personal favourite, a belly drum sweeper. Slurpuff is undoubtedly carried by its ability Unburden, doubling its speed upon consumption or removal of its held item. This makes it perfect in upper tiers like Ubers or Anything Goes, where the power level skyrockets. Slurpuff can fulfill its quota by setting up webs without fear thanks to the Focus Sash item. Once that's used up, Unburden activates and Slurpuff becomes the fastest thing on the field, threatening to weaken enemies with Endeavour, induce drowsiness with Yawn, or simply explode with Misty Explosion, dealing collateral stab damage as a farewell gift. Let's be real though, there's no fun in using Slurpuff as a sacrifice lead. That's why I endorse this specific set, Belly Drum Slurpuff. When EV'd correctly, the Citrus Berry will restore some of Slurpuff's HP after maximizing its attack with Belly Drum, making it a force to be reckoned with. Alternatively, I've innovated to replace Citrus Berry with a Psychic Seed, synergizing Slurpuff with Tapu Lele in the NetDex format, as the Psychic Seed gives Slurpuff a crucial special defense raise to survive attacks, while Psychic Terrain eliminates Slurpuff's key weakness to Mega Scizor by denying priority Bullet Punch, allowing the pink blob to decimate entire teams without mercy. In 4th place is a Pokemon hailing from the Paldean region, Tatsugiri. Tatsugiri's tree form seem to be based off types of sushi, a Japanese delicacy. By itself, Tatsugiri is unimpressive, boasting a base 120 special attack and mediocre stats elsewhere. Where this Pokemon really shines is in the VGC format, where Tatsugiri's ability Commander enables Dondozo to become one of the most formidable Pokemon on the field. A Tatsugiri with the ability Commander will leap into Dondozo's mouth, shielding it from all incoming moves while granting Dondozo a +2 Omni boost to all of its stats. In addition to this, Dondozo's signature move Order Up will raise a different stat based on Tatsugiri's form when used, the Curly form raising attack. droopy form raising defense, and stretchy form raising speed. This makes Dondozo increasingly difficult to get rid of, especially since you could simply terrestrialize it to the grass type so it's no longer susceptible to spore or powder moves. I personally enjoy using this set in VGC with droopy form Tatsukiri, Assault Vest Dondozo, and moves like Body Press, Order Up, Stab Liquidation, and Earthquake for coverage. Order Up synergizes well with Body Press since the defense boost accumulated from using it increase the overall strength of Body Press, while Assault Vest plus Terra Grass eliminates Dondozo's staggering weakness to Miraidon. Tatsukiri may be lacking in raw power, but the way it perfectly complements Dondozo in doubles makes it a force to be reckoned with. In third place is a Pokemon I never thought I would end up despising as much as I did. Yet it's impossible to overlook the merits of Polteageist, which according to its species is based off Black Tea. This thing is busted and almost unstoppable if your team lacks a proper response. The combination of Shell Smash and Stored Power transforms Polteageist into one of the fastest and deadliest sweepers on the field, as long as it can endure a hit. The Focus Sash guarantees that, and setting up Psychic Terrain in advance with Pokemon like Indeedee or Tapu Lele ensures no priority move can hinder the Teapot in the midst of its genocide, while strengthening the move's Stored Power. Terra Blast Fighting eliminates a core weakness to Dark types that would normally switch into Stored Power like Kingambit, and once you're in a predicament with no Psychic Resist or specially defensive response, your best hope is to stall out Psychic Terrain turns before finally knocking it out with a priority move. By then the damage is already done. Despite being extremely powerful, Polteageist lacks versatility or long-term value, requiring ample support from Pokemon such as Indeedee and Great Tusk to set up terrain and remove hazards respectively. Claiming second place is actually the convergent form of the aforementioned Pokemon. Sinistcha is the Paldean relative of Polteageist based off of Matcha, and though both T Pokemon share the Ghost typing, Sinistcha is significantly more versatile thanks to its better bulk and versatility. The combination of Strength Sap and its signature move Matcha Gotcha provides Sinistcha with consistent healing while weakening opposing Pokemon that can't immediately KO it. Its ability Heat Proof allows it to stomach super effective Fire-type moves from common threats like Hisuian Arcanine, and Sinistcha's excellent typing was OU's most common Rapid Spinner, Great Tusk. Sinistcha is an excellent threat to most physically offensive Pokemon in upper tiers, and is equally renowned in the VGC format, where its other ability Hospitality comes into play. Hospitality restores a quarter of the user's allies' maximum HP, keeping teammates healthy. This synergizes well with key abusers of Fatal Spread moves like Water Spout, Eruption, and Dragon Energy, all of which deal damage that corresponds with the user's current HP. Sinistcha's Ghost typing grants it a crucial immunity to Fake Out, and its Grass typing means it's unaffected by powder moves like Spore or Rage Powder. Overall, Sinistcha differs greatly from its English counterpart, offering more long-term value in both singles and VGC. Finally, the very best food-based Pokemon, it's Blissey. If you're a competent player of the 6v6 single format, Blissey needs no introduction. Blissey is based off an egg, and not only is it shaped like one, it also carries a large egg in its pouch in a motherly fashion. Blissey is the premier special wall. It has laughed in generations and generations of special sweepers, shrugging off super effective hits with its otherworldly HP and special defense stats. The pink blob has remained highly consistent, never really succumbing to power creep at any point, since special walls as dominant and competent as Blissey are hard to find. Its most standard set comprises utility moves like Stealth Rocks to chip opponent, Toxic or Thunder Wave to inflict status, Soft Boil for healing, and Seismic Toss for damage. It's not to say the Mother of Stall is incapable of doing damage without Seismic Toss, as Blissey's solid base 75 special attack stat can inflict serious damage when paired with Calm Mind and moves like Ice Beam or Stored Power for fighting types. Despite losing key moves like Toxic and Teleport, Blissey has established itself as an ubiquitous presence in Stall archetype since the beginning, threatening to clean up any special attacker in the late game if left undealt with. So what are your thoughts? Are there any food-based Pokemon that I may have missed out? And which one is your favorite? Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave your comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, since it costs you nothing and it helps me out a lot. Bye.